I'm Bill Elfo, the Whatcom County Sheriff, and these are the teams of detectives who have worked doggedly on this case for over 3 decades. Some of them knew Mandy, some of them went to high school with Mandy, and they've invested their hearts and souls in this case in over 30 years. And this has gone on where we've had people work this case and retired, but these are just a few of the folks that were instrumental in bringing the results that you read in the press release earlier today. On November 24th, 1989, at 1:50 p.m., which was the day after Thanksgiving, 18-year-old Amanda Stavick, also known as Mandy, left home on the Strand Road out in the Acme Valley to go jogging with the family dog. The dog returned home several hours later, but Mandy did not. Following an exhaustive search, Mandy's body was found in the South Fork of the Nooksack River. The investigation into the kidnapping, rape, and murder of Mandy Stavick has remained a top priority for the Whatcom County Sheriff's Office. Over the course of the last 28 plus years, hundreds of leads emerged and were systematically investigated. Over the past decades, the community was repeatedly asked for assistance in solving this case. Information was received pertaining to literally hundreds of potential suspects and leads that were followed up locally in other states and foreign countries, including in Asia. During the course of the investigation, deputies consulted closely with forensic experts, the FBI, and renowned homicide investigators. Among the potential suspects that emerged in recent years was Timothy Forrest Bass, who is now 50 years old, of Everson, Washington. At the time of Mandy's murder, Bass lived on the Strand Road, not far from Mandy's residence. Deputies forward DNA samples from Mr. Bass to the Washington State Crime Laboratory, who reported to us that his DNA matched the DNA recovered from Mandy's body in 1989. The laboratory determined that the match probability was 1 in 11 quadrillion. And I'll repeat, 1 in 11 quadrillion. Bass was arrested by the Sheriff's Office detectives on December 12th, yesterday, on suspicion of first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, and first-degree rape. At the time of her murder, Mandy was a bright first-year freshman student at Central Washington University. She was very known in eastern portions of Whatcom County. She was an excellent student and an athlete at Mount Baker High School. She had graduated from Mount Baker High School earlier in the year. She would have celebrated her 46th birthday this year. Her brutal murder rocked our community, and she is still remembered by many. We hope that this arrest will help bring closure to Mandy's family and the greater Whatcom County community. I'd like to extend my appreciation to all the members of the Sheriff's Office who have poured their hearts and souls into this case over the past 3 decades. I'd also like to thank the Washington State Patrol Crime Laboratory and the Whatcom County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for their invaluable assistance over the course of this 28-year investigation. The use of DNA in forensic science was relatively new in 1989, and the collection and safe storage over the years made the solving of this horrific crime possible. Anyone with information regarding Timothy Bass that may be helpful to our investigation is urged to contact the Sheriff's Office, and we will put those numbers up on the board in a second. We're going to maintain a tip line for this case, and also we'll have a call center activated this afternoon where anyone has information about Mr. Bass that may be relevant to this matter or generally to the overall crime. We urge you to please call. As I said, Mandy left her home on Strand Road to go jogging, and on November 24th and on November 27th, her body was found in the South Fork of the Nooksack River. This is the area that was searched and shows where the body was recovered. That is near the Rothenbuehler Road and the South Fork park that is off of Mosquito Lake Road. A little more detail of the river. And this is the general location of Acme, Washington, that runs from Van Zant to Acme on Highway 9. Again, we need to remember Mandy, and we're glad to bring her justice. She grew up in Whatcom County, and again, attended Mount Baker High School, outstanding athlete and honor student, freshman at Central Washington University, and she would have celebrated her 46th birthday this year. And Mandy's family is still alive, still lives in the area, and we, as I said before, we do hope this brings her closure. I do have a request from Mandy's family that you respect her privacy. They do not want to be contacted at their home or by telephone as they absorb this, and we ask you to please observe their request. Thank you, and I'm limited into the questions I will take because I don't want to jeopardize an ongoing investigation or prosecution, but I will take a few questions and answer them if I can.
Sure. Can I ask you, how did you get the suspect's DNA, and were any new technologies employed recently that led you to him?
There were technologies involved that were not available in 1989, and we're not going to comment at this particular time as to how the DNA samples were recovered from the suspect. Robert?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. When did he first become a suspect?
He's been a suspect for several years, but he was not a suspect back at the time of when the crime occurred.
How does this make you feel personally?
Personally, I've been obsessed with this. I feel sometimes that Mandy is speaking to us that this case needs to be solved, and I know I'm speaking on behalf of all these detectives as well, that this has been a major deal in their life, a major part of their life. Many of them grew up in that area. As I said, some knew Mandy. So, but we're only at the first step. We still have a lot of work to do, and move on. Joe?
It sounds like the suspect just became kind of under suspicion in the last few years. How did he come under suspicion?
We asked the community to provide us information, and his name emerged as someone that residents thought might have some involvement in the case, but I can't go into any more specifics on it at this time.
And can you talk about when you got his DNA? Was this something that was on the shelf and it was just made as a match as this technology becomes more available, or?
His DNA was obtained last September, and it was analyzed by the crime lab recently.
How long was he aware that he was a suspect?
I think he became aware that he was a suspect when we arrested him.
Not when you obtained his DNA, or did you obtain his DNA without?
We're not going to answer those questions and go down that line of questioning. We're not going to answer how we obtained the DNA.
How did he react when he was arrested?
We're not going to go into that either at this point in time.
Can you tell us anything about him?
We can tell you he has no criminal record. He lived in the about a mile and a half from Mandy's house at the time of the crime.
Did they know each other at the time?
We're not going to comment on that either. We still have a lot of investigation to do on this case as well, post-arrest investigation.
Motive?
We're not going to conjecture on that either, but as I said, she was raped and kidnapped.
Has he been a resident of Whatcom County this whole time?
Yes. So if that's it, we'll go ahead and close the briefing.
Did any of you get to put the cuffs on him?
Detective Bowie.
Can you spell your name, sir?
B-O-W?
Yeah.
H-A-Y?
Oh, yeah.
And Sheriff, you did mention that some of these
Hey, well.
detectives knew her. Is there anybody who would want to share some kind words or memories about Mandy?
I'm sure they all have a lot of kind words, but I think they want to remain professional investigators in this case and stay on the course that's been charted to bring justice for Mandy. And these are the phone numbers. If anyone has information, we certainly urge them to come forward. We will have a call center set up in the other end of this building. We have it staffed by detectives and by well-trained volunteers, and I know some of the media had interest in seeing that, and we'll be happy to escort you back there for a brief tour.
Sheriff, there are other open investigations into disappearances or murders of young women in Whatcom County. Is he possibly a suspect in any of those other cases?
We certainly look at everything, and that's part of the post-arrest investigation to see, but it's important to note that if you commit a murder in Whatcom County, and even though it remains unsolved for a number of years, it remains actively investigated, and we will follow every lead to any part of the world necessary to solve it. Thank you.